Binox CRM is uniquely designed for MSPs, and you can go from sourcing highly qualified leads to selling in less than a minute. Let Binox automation work for you. Follow up, quote, and convert. More customers in one place. Binox CRM is uniquely designed for MSPs, and you can go from sourcing highly qualified leads to selling in less than a minute. Let Binox automation work for you. Follow up, quote, and convert. More customers in one place. Binox CRM is uniquely designed for MSPs, and you can go from sourcing highly qualified leads to selling in less than a minute. Let Binox automation work for you. Follow up, quote, and convert. More customers in one place.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Walter Contreras. I am super delighted to have you here today. I have an amazing webinar that I think is going to bring so much value to you guys, and I am very, very excited to show it to you, to share this with you. I hope everyone's starting off the year great, and let's get started. By the way, a couple of housekeeping things. Feel free to post comments right below. If you want to ask any questions, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. So feel free to ask any questions, even if they're not related to what I'm going to talk about today. If you have questions about the sales process, MSP stuff, just feel free to post them. So a little bit about me. I am an MSP still. We're still actively running our MSP in New York. I've been doing this for about 15 to 16 years. And really what I spend most of my time today is just teaching my team how to do sales and coaching, including other MSPs on the sales process. So I want to give you some context today, just so you understand a little bit about the landscape of where we are as MSPs, as an industry. And there's about 132,000 MSPs globally today, and growing at about a 3.5% annually. In North America, there's somewhere between 40 and 45,000 MSPs. A lot of them, a lot of them are under that threshold of being $1 million. And so let me just share my screen real quick. My apologies about that. And so, but the majority are under $5 million in revenue. So when you think about where you are in your MSP journey, you might be an MSP right now that is, starting the journey. You're a single operator. You're doing everything yourself. Or maybe you're a little bit more mature. You figured out operations and you're starting to look into that growth pattern. Or maybe you are that MSP that's killing it, right? Last 2 years have been amazing for us. And you're looking to grow, focus, growing your sales team, your marketing team. So depending on where you are in that journey, the last couple of years have been amazing for our industry. And I really hope that you enjoyed tremendous success the last couple of years. But the question that keeps coming up for me and my team is, while this recession is looming, can we continue with the same growth patterns that we had the last couple of years? And in my personal opinion, I think the answer is 100% yes. We just have to do it in a different way. So Kaseya did a survey of all their customers, and about 43% of them said that getting new customers is the most difficult thing for them. So today I want to spend some time going over that, because that's truly where I think Binox, and especially the process I'm going to show you, can help you. But let's talk about lead generation in general, because you know what? The way we source leads years ago, or even when we started in this industry, to today, it's quite different, right? I remember the days when we were there was something called Sales Genie, and I can go in Sales Genie, pull up a list that was terrible. Probably the data was so old, and you will have a real difficult time telling whether or not that was a prospect for you. But, lead generation itself, when you think about, the methods on how you get customers, you might be enjoying a great referral program. And so you might be getting a lot of word of mouth referrals. The problem I have with that is I'm not controlling my destiny. I'm all about controlling my destiny. And quite frankly, word of mouth will get dried out at some point. With the up and coming MSPs, especially a lot of M&A during last years and the last couple of years. And so one of the things we've seen is this massive MSPs going over territories and starting to spend a ton of money on Google AdWords and pretty much shining down the competition that way. It's expensive. If you're an MSP who's struggling to keep up with all these expenses, competing with these guys may not be the right strategy. Every time we get we get some Google leads, I cringe a little bit because they're usually very needy people. They're not the industry I'm looking for. They have a problem, probably an urgent matter that they need you to solve for them, and then you have to take away from your customers. For me, it's never been the greatest thing. I do some traditional marketing. I do subscribe to a couple magazines that we do for specific industries that we go after. But really, we don't, it's more for validation than actual lead generation, right? Because who's reading a magazine today? And so the one that I like the most is where we have gotten tremendous success is in our own self-generated leads because we control our own destiny. We decide who is our ideal client profile. We do our own marketing and we convert more, right? We can take somebody from a latent need to an active need much easier via education and the process we use. So, but that's the one I really enjoyed going out to prospects. But let's talk a little bit about leads because the whole I will call it the battle between the raw and qualified has been there for forever, right? What's a raw, what's a qualified? But I'm here to tell you that I don't make the rules, so don't shoot the messenger. But I'm here to tell you that data is the new gold. If you look at companies like Google, Facebook, all these companies that are growing right now, they have been utilizing data to their advantage. And it's interesting to me that us as MSPs being so technical, we don't really utilize all of the technical assets that are available to us. And so, and I'm sure you heard of Chat GPT and all these incredible AI things that are coming out. So what is raw versus qualified? It really has changed drastically. And let me explain what I mean by that. We call this the new smart lead. And, about 90% of the businesses we put in last year, I can tell you that based on the old school methods of what was qualified, we would have never won them, right? Because the new smart lead is the one that's already ready to be marketed, that you can source that lead, that is already opted in, that it's already to email, ready to connect on LinkedIn. You're going to get social profiles. You're going to engage faster, right? So if you're very agile in the whole process of, LinkedIn and connecting with people, is the right industry, right? How many times we get leads from industries that, quite frankly, we don't serve? So, is it the right person, right? How many word of mouth deals I've ever gotten where they say, call this guy, he's interested, but is not the decision maker. And so why would I go after somebody who's never going to make a decision? It might be an influencer, but it's not going to make a decision, right? So being from the right territory, my MSP Motiva Networks, we expanded to so many territories last year. We are in Louisiana, we are in Pennsylvania, we are in Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland. And the reason why we were able to do that is because we can source the right data anywhere we want. So, finding the exact number of employees, how many MSPs struggle with the fact that you're marketing to companies that might be too small for you or might be too big for that matter, but, finding the right amount of people in that organization. Do they have the money to pay you? How many times you go after a company that you do all this work, you propose, you do assessments, you do all of that, and in the end, they're just not going to pay you. They just don't have the revenue for it. And data that is coming out today, things like technographics, we'll talk about that, is information that is being it's aggregated data, right? So that is the smart lead, that is the new data, that is the new gold, like it or not, this is the new way. And so the companies that are utilizing these new methods, they're going to win, right? And I want you all to win. So we'll show you how we do that. But before I continue, I want to show you a little bit about what I learned during my experience at a ConnectWise event that I was participating. And in the average managed service agreement for us, depends on where you are. I know it's going to be up or down, but the average is about 3,000 a month, right? And so if you're a good salesperson, which you should be doing, is upselling and cross-selling, right? Some project work, phone systems, things like that, you literally can get almost $43,000 a year from that one customer, right? In 5 years, that customer's value, it's almost $250,000 for one customer, right? That's why the managed service business is so lucrative when you're doing it right, and you're being profitable and all that stuff. We'll leave that for another conversation, another webinar. But I want to show you what I am doing in my MSP and how I'm using Binox to improve my sales process. And so what we do at Motiva, our MSP, is we put about, let's talk about 75 leads. And look, you can put more, you can put less. It depends on how many people you have to follow up, because that's the key. And you'll see in a little bit, I'll show you what I mean by follow up. So, but let's say we put in the smallest package of Binox, 75 leads. And then, depending on what you're doing for marketing, right? You should be warming up that lead. You should be sending some mailers, postcards, emails, whatever you do to send to those people to tell them about yourself. And the methods of what you use to do that will improve, the people that engage with you or not. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But every one of those people get 4 phone call follow-ups from us, right? We're big on phone things. I'm not big on this whole thing, like just leave it to destiny. We actually call people 4 times, and we yield about 10 highly qualified appointments per 75 leads per month. So as a result of that, everybody that we have an appointment with, the only reason why we're there is to convert them to do a risk assessment, right? And so everybody out of those people will get an actual proposal and a quote from us, right? So problems. Here's how I solve it. Here's my proposal, right? But here's where MSPs fall apart, myself included, right? A lot of the deals I didn't close in the past, it's because I'm busy. I'm putting out fires. I'm calling customers. My paying customers are important to me, right? And so we fall apart on this whole follow-up process. We kind of get off the flow because we're so busy, unless you have dedicated salespeople. And even those people need to stay focused. And we'll show you how we do that in Binox. But we're yielding about 1 or 2 customers per month average on those numbers, on those leads. When you think about it, that is almost $500,000 a year in just reoccurring revenue, right? So this is an incredible thing for you to get right. And when you do, you're going to enjoy the benefits of all this growth, right? So, and again, feel free to post any comments, any questions on the chat. I'm happy to answer them all. But I'm going to demonstrate to you a little bit about how we do this inside of Binox, right? So Binox does 2 things really well. The first thing is we help you source your ideal client and build your ideal client list. And the second one is we have one of the top CRMs in the industry, and our integrations with tools that you already use, like PSAs, are second to none. So I'm going to demonstrate the lead portion first, and then we'll talk about the rest. So in Binox, you can search by companies and contact. That distinction for you should be very important, because if you are one of those MSPs that are going after co-managed IT business, you're going to search by contact, and you're going to search for that very specific CISO, CTO, or that very specific person in that business to go after in the market. But I'm going to show you companies because it's the easiest way to look. So I'm doing a basic search in my area. I'm putting my zip code here, and I'm just putting a radius on it. And then we have a list of curated industries, but again, you can bring your own SIC codes, your own NAICS codes. If you have that perfect customer, you want more of those, you just look for their SIC code and bring it. But I'm going to show you construction business in this zip code. And then I'm going to use 25 to 200 as a seat measure. I know us MSPs, we go per person per seat, right? So I'm going to use that. When I do that on the right-hand side, I have these results, right? I get 100 and something companies that fit the criteria. And then I can quickly look at a map view of those prospects. So I can see, are they in my territory? Are they not, right? So this is why it's so important to have a visual of where those leads are. Now, this list you see here are companies that fit that profile. When you click in this contact section, you're going to see that Binox gives you two types of leads. The first one is we call machine verified. They're algorithm based. They're about 75% accurate. The ones we usually go after the most are the ones that we call humanly verified leads. Because as you can see, these leads, they'll have tons of information, right? So if you look at these leads, they'll have, like Sean here will have verified email addresses and LinkedIn profiles, mobile numbers, which you'll see in a second how this plays out, company numbers, addresses, everything about this business, it's in this lead, right? So all you have to do is click on this button here, open in Binox, and we're going to take the entire information of that lead and move it over to our CRM. Okay. Now, our CRM is very different than what you might be used to because number one, we brought in all that data, right? So as you can see here, I have Sean's website already. I have Sean's LinkedIn, right? I didn't type anything. I didn't have to do anything. Everything just came in. And so mobile numbers, everything about this company and opportunity just came in, this prospect. And Binox is quite unique in terms of how we built it. We built it from the ground up. And one of the things that was very important to us is that we can take action right away on that prospect, right? So we built our own phone dialer. You don't have to go get a third party phone dialer to work with our application. You can just provision the phone number and start using it. So we have our own phone dialer. You can call, you can schedule this phone call at a later time. You can do a ton of stuff. We have a built-in SMS tool. Now, I know what you're saying. Don't text people right away. Get their permission first. You know, texting becomes so important later on, especially as people get into the process, the sales process of a managed service deal. As you guys know, it could be a very lengthy process, right? So sometimes I got in deals where I just send them a quick text, hey, you know, Sean, did you forget to approve the deal? Sometimes people get so many emails, they get bombarded with that, right? So the other thing we have here is something we call VMail. And VMail, video mail, is really interesting to us because almost everything we do to put ourselves in front of our prospects contains a video of ourselves, of us talking about our products and services. And so with VMail, you click this button and you start recording your screen or you recording your video, and then you can send that to your prospect, to your customer. If you happen to have a templated email, which we'll talk about it later on, you could literally take 2 seconds, make a video, and send it to somebody, and make it super personable. And it's a great tool for us. Our email integrations are directly built within Office 365 and G Suite, so there's no junk mail. There's no emails going to junk here. You know, we have deep integrations with things like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, all of that. But really, you know, when we were building the platform, we were saying to ourselves, look, we want to be able somebody to take this thing, take this lead, and just start really engaging with them, right? Emailing them, calling them, etc. But really, when I think about, you know, how are we even much more different than other CRMs, is we take a big leapfrog here when we create an opportunity, because opportunities to us was the most important thing, right? And so in Binox, when you create an opportunity, whether you booked an appointment, first initial conversation, whatever, as soon as you put this information here and you hit save, that opportunity flows into your PSA. So for me, I happen to be a ConnectWise partner. What will happen here is that the company name, the contact, and all their information, including the opportunity, will be created for you just by clicking that button. And that's our deep integration with the PSAs that we're known for in the industry. And so once the opportunity is here, obviously you guys have quoting tools, maybe using ConnectWise Sell, maybe using QuoteWorks, maybe using Quoter, whatever quoting tool you use, you eventually, the whole point of that whole thing is that you're going to add products and services to your opportunities, right? And as soon as you do that, magically, without you having to do a single thing, those opportunities will flow into a Binox opportunities module. What I'm showing you here is a list of opportunities. And when the opportunities come into Binox, we call these system the car system. So your sales pipeline is built on this modern Kanban system. You can take those opportunities from stage to stage. But one of the cool things about Binox is that these car systems contain a ton of information, right? Ton of information like revenue, right? You can see the revenue on these companies. You can see the company name, the contact owner, the salesperson. We have labels to identify those opportunities. And even without going inside the opportunity, you can click on this button and start engaging with your opportunities. You can send emails, phone calls, etc. And so, but the unique thing about Binox, we were talking about a little bit about, when we lose track of these opportunities, we get too busy. The unique thing about Binox is that when you miss an opportunity, system is smart enough to bring it to the top, mark it red, like I did here. I actually missed this call today. I had to call him. But it just helps you stay on the flow, stay in the flow of things, move your opportunities throughout the process. And when you go into them, that's where you see the entire life cycle of the opportunity. We show you things, like I said, revenue, all the notes that have been taken. By the way, we will record every phone call for training purposes. So those phone calls will be here for you to review with your team. Maybe you do some coaching with your salespeople. Everything that is being done with this opportunity is automatically being recorded, right? As and tracked. So emails, you can reply and send things from here. So everything to do with the opportunity, even your calendar. By the way, we believe you should always have your calendar next to you, because I don't know about you guys, but I miss a lot of meetings because of that. But as you can see here, all of this information comes into the CRM without you having to worry about it or click more things. It just comes in effortlessly into it. And just so you know, we are the only tool in the market that actually brings products inside the CRM. What that means to you is that if you want to keep your salespeople outside of your PSA, you can, because we bring all the information for the products as well. Binax has so many tools, so many things from the quoting perspective. I happen to be a ConnectWise sell partner, so I can quote, I can edit these quotes directly into sell from here. I can change the quote pricing. I can look at my order borders. I can see what the customer will see. So if I'm on the phone call with a customer, they say, Walter, it's not 10 users, it's 12. I can change that number on the fly. And, we created a lot of unique tools that I just don't have all day to show you here, but there's so many tools. For example, on our lead side, we have this thing called website reveal. When you put this little tracking code on your website, we basically tell you who lands on your website. And then you can see, all the contacts, all the people that work for those organizations. So tons of tools that we built to make your life easier and to continue to move that opportunity throughout the flow. So for me, it's an amazing opportunity to show you this. And I'm just going to pause for a second and see if there are any comments. Carla, are you there to see any comments, please?
Sure. Let's see one from Kimi Rogers. She wants to know that if you just add their email, when he clicks on the logo, does it come up, or does she has to send it to a CRM?
That's on the lead sourcing part. So if I'm understanding that correctly, Kimmy, if not, you please correct me on that. But what you see, these leads that you see here are here for purchase. Okay. So when you sign up for one of our plans, you're gonna have the opportunity to purchase these leads or create your own list. By the way, that's one of the other features of Binox, that I can add this to my list and create my own list of prospects inside the system where I can just keep adding things to that list. So Binance is unique in the way that it allows you to create your own list of prospects. And so you can see here how I serve the independent insurance industry. And so I have these lists that I create. Some of them I uploaded myself, some of them I purchased myself. But the idea here is that you maintain the integrity of your data inside of Binox the entire life cycle. I hope that answers the question. Carla, any more?
Sure. Let's see one from Coleman. He wants to know, how does the lead look like in Keep?
In Keep. So I don't have Keep, so I couldn't show him that. But one of the things that we do have, we don't dictate for us to just use our CRM. We do happen to think that our CRM is more powerful than that. But you could buy leads just like this. I don't have that integration, but we do support a few CRMs. And then when you select those leads, you can send those leads directly to Infusionsoft. And when you do that, it's going to prompt you to put the stages you want to put it on, all that deep integration that we have with, by the way, Infusionsoft. It's not Keep. Keep is a different product. Go ahead, Carla. Any more?
Let's do one more from Doug. He says that he currently has the ConnectWise cell, but has no idea how to implement the templates or how to go and use the platform.
Awesome. That's a great question. So we do have every Friday, we do have something we call our coaching call, and every Friday we have some fundamentals that we go through on how to set these things up. Feel free to send him the link, Carla, so he can sign up, or you can sign him up after this webinar. But I highly look. Binox has tons of built-in self-help. We're always available on the chat here, just a click away from anyone. You could always message us and talk to us, but there's also a help section that you can go and look for any document about almost everything that we do on the platform. And we also have a weekly coaching call that is every Friday, where we get a chance to go over the fundamentals, best practices, and believe it or not, we end up talking a lot about sales techniques and things like that. So thank you, Carla. Any more, Carla?
Let's see. We have one more from Rick Ramsey. I like the integration with PSA, and I'm a ConnectWise partner. Also, can you show us how the opportunities flow from Binox into ConnectWise?
Yeah, and this is the big what I will call difference in leapfrog. This is where things really change, because opportunities for us, when you have a prospect, right, and you bring it to become an opportunity, our deep integrations. In my case, by the way, we support Synchro, Autotask, BMS, ConnectWise right now, and the idea is that when you hit save opportunity or create opportunity in Binox, it's going to bring all that information into the PSA, right? So it's going to bring the company, the contact, the address, the person's name, the phone number, the email, all of the infographic information will be created directly into the PSA. So that now you could just click a button and start, quoting just like you normally do. And then as soon as you hit save on that opportunity, when you finish quoting, it's going to magically appear inside of Binox just like this. So opportunities for us are unique that way. We're the only tool in the market that has these integrations. We are the only tool in the market that brings products into the CRM. And so because of that, we're just, I don't want to say better, but just makes your sales process easier because you can live in one platform instead of living in so many. One of the other things that I like to point out, guys, is that we're also the only tool in the market that can do what we call a global search. So when we use the search tool here, and Binox is search, by the way, our search tool is amazing because I have very short memory. And so sometimes I don't remember what I did or what I quoted the person. So I could just put anything I want, Walter Sonic Wall or whatever. And as you can see, our tool looks for contacts, companies, and opportunities. But it's great because it's not just looking in Binox, it's looking also in whichever PSA you connected. So it's a unique opportunity for you to quickly bring a contact that, you may want to, that may just live in ConnectWise, right? So you might be wanting to quote a customer, and you can just bring that contact real quick into Binox and start quoting it, right? So those things are unique for us. There's no tool in the market that does this kind of integration. So, but it's just such a deep integration with the PSA. Awesome. Thank you, Carla. So, yeah, and basically, to wrap up a little bit, I just want to give you a little bit of a few pointers on our own sales process and how at Motiva we look at that sales process. And we have 4 steps. We have something we call the interview, which for us is it's really just the first step in any of our engagements. We have something we call the assessment and the readout, and then finally the proposal. And just to give you a little bit about this process, and we're gonna have a webinar uh, where we're gonna go really, really deep on this, because I really want to talk about how these interviews and data-driven mechanisms work for us. But the interview for us is really just a formality, right? We already know everything about that company, about that person. So having great conversations about things like, hey, I know you do some community work with XYZ. I mean, it's just an amazing thing to have all this information in front of you. And when we talk about assessments, we have a very quick method to do assessments. We happen to use a product called Galactic Scans. I have no affiliation with them other than I love the product. And it made it super easy for us to have just a hyperlink to send to our prospects. And it makes it really easy for us to follow up on that as well. And then the readout, every time we do these readouts, we're extremely careful not to speak any technical stuff. We're very focused on the issues at hand. And like I said, I'm going to do a deep dive webinar on these things because I really think that this is where a lot of MSPs have issues with the sales process. But just kind of want to give you a little preview of it. But we're really focused on getting those assessments. About 98% of the people we talk to do these assessments, and I'll show you on that webinar why is it that they do them and how we convert them. And finally, we propose to them, right? And I don't do it on the same meeting, by the way. I do it on a separate meeting after they kind of digest a little bit of the issues I just showed them. But on that proposal meeting, it's really more about showing them the value of the things that we're selling them, right? And by that point, they met with us 4 times. We know they're super engaged. We know the industry that they are from is the one we want. So at this point, it's almost like a done deal, right? So we identify, introduce, set appointments, assessments, and conversions. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a deep dive on this subject because I do feel that it will bring a lot of information to you guys. Lastly, marketing automation for us is a big deal. We think about it in 3 different places. The first one is email templates, day-to-day emails back and forth, email blast, that one-time newsletter, or maybe that one-time blast you're doing, and then smart campaigns. Our smart campaigns are quite unique because it's more like a drag and drop system. You don't need to be a rocket science to build the marketing campaign. It's actually really simple. And so it's kind of how we think about automation. And in Q2, we will be having quoting where you're going to be able to quickly look for your distribution points. It will be super deeply integrated with your PSA. And really, we just want you to get paid much faster, right? And so just a preview about that. And lastly, take advantage of our free trial. I would love for you to try the app and take a look at it. I mean, there are so many things about the app, especially the data, especially the way we deal with opportunities. Those are the 2 big things that are so important to me. And so I want to give you guys a 30-day money-back guarantee. And by the way, if you sign up after this webinar and you take advantage of that, you're going to get a discount for the next 3 months. And so just head on over to binoxmsp.com/webinar offer and take advantage of that. Sign up, try it. If you do need us to assign somebody to help you, we have people that can help you implement the whole thing, and there is no charge for that. So take advantage of it. I want to thank you all for being here. It's been a pleasure to be here. Enjoy your weekend, and thank you so much, everybody.
Binox CRM is uniquely designed for MSPs, and you can go from sourcing highly qualified leads to selling in less than a minute. Let Binox automation work for you. Follow up, quote, and convert. More customers in